Let me ask you something. When was the last time you were in a room, a meeting, an interview, a networking event, and you had something valuable to say, but you didn't say it? Not because you didn't know enough, not because you were scared, but because you wanted to be humble. My name is Mtavisi, and I've coached hundreds of founders, executives, and professionals as a public speaking coach. And I want to tell you something that might be hard to hear. That's not humility. That's invisibility. And there's a difference. Here's what I've noticed coaching professionals across industries. Most people are more afraid of coming across as arrogant than they are of coming across as too small. More afraid of being seen as too much than of being seen as not enough. And that fear dressed up as humility is one of the most costly decisions professionals make every single day. Researchers studying the job interview process found that people face a genuine internal conflict. They know they need to speak to their experience and their accomplishments to be taken seriously, but the fear of appearing as arrogant stops them from doing it fully. So they hold back, they downplay, they say things like, it was really a team effort when they led the team. And they wonder why they keep getting overlooked. But a lot of this starts really early on. For many of us, especially those of us who grew up in cultures with strong values around hierarchy and respect, we were taught, don't brag. Be seen, not heard. Let your work speak for itself. And that's not a bad lesson in the right context, but when you carry it into every professional room you ever walk into, it starts to cost you. Research in personal branding has found that professionals who were raised with these messages tend to shrink, downplay their success, and wait for others to recognize them, oftentimes indefinitely. And I've lived this. I grew up in Zimbabwe, and when I got to university in Canada, networking was everything. If you wanted a job at an accounting firm, you had to show up to all these events and talk about yourself. And it felt so foreign to me, so salesy, so uncomfortable. All these people in a circle watching while I talked about myself. It felt like I was breaking a rule that I'd been taught my whole life. I felt like I shouldn't have to talk about myself. I should just be able to show it. But here's what I learned. In that moment, at an event, in an interview, in a big meeting, your work cannot speak for itself. You have to speak for the work. So let me offer you a better definition of humility. Because I'm not here to tell you to be arrogant. That's not the answer. Rick Warren, the author of the book Purpose-Driven Life, wrote something about this that changed how I think about it. He said, humility is not thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less. That's the distinction. True humility is not shrinking yourself. It's not pretending your value doesn't exist. It's not staying quiet so that you don't make anyone uncomfortable. True humility is knowing what value you bring and choosing to direct it toward others. It connects back to everything we talk about on my channel. Speaking is not about you, it's about the audience. A humble communicator doesn't walk into a room thinking, how do I not come across as too much? A humble communicator walks into the room thinking, what does this room need from me? What value can I bring to these people? That's a completely different posture, and it produces a completely different result. So 2 things for you to shift this starting today. Number 1, reframe what you are doing. When you speak about your experience, your skills, your accomplishments, you're not bragging. You are giving the room the information it needs to decide whether you can help them. That's a service. Before your next interview, your next pitch, your next networking event, remind yourself, I'm not here to impress anyone. I'm here to help them understand what I can do for them, how I can add value to them. That one reframe changes everything. Number 2, speak for your work. Your work cannot walk into a room and just introduce itself, but you can. You are not separate from the value that you've created. When you talk about what you've done, you're not being arrogant, you're being accurate. So own it. Say it clearly. Say it without apology, because the person sitting across from you needs to know what you bring. And if you don't tell them, no one will. All I ask is that in your quest to stay humble, don't make yourself invisible. The world doesn't need you to be smaller. It needs you to show up fully, speak clearly, and bring everything you have into a room. That's not arrogance. That's your responsibility.